coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
I'm outside of where Mayor Stanton just gave his State of the City address. We'll have what he said and what it could mean for the city of Phoenix.
If you choose to comment at city council meetings in Tempe, your words could be reaching more ears than you think.
Why space travel and amusement parks like this one might be bringing more visitors to Arizona. I'll have more coming up next.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite NewsWatch. I'm Clarissa Tapia.
And I'm Cassie Clapp. Thanks for joining us. The State of the City was today as many gathered to listen to Mayor Stanton's address, which encouraged economic growth. Cronkite News reporter Tweelon Nugent joins us live from downtown Phoenix with the story. Twee?
Mayor Stanton delivered his third State of the City address today to a sold-out crowd. More than 1,100 people showed up to the Phoenix Convention Center to hear what he had to say.
Phoenix is a better place than just 2 years ago, and we are growing stronger every single day.
Mayor Stanton boasted about the strength of the city's economy, including the success of the Shop Local policy and growth in public transportation.
Ridership continues to soar. The number of light rail passengers alone is up more than 11% in just the 2 years that I have been mayor.
The sellout crowd paid $70 a seat, and the spokeswoman for Fry's grocery store said she liked what she heard.
We've got to challenge ourselves, and they're working on it, so it felt like we're being progressive. We're taking ownership, but we have goals moving forward.
The mayor said future goals include increased trade with Mexico and Canada and the protection of Arizona's water supply. He also addressed SB 1062, a bill he ardently opposed.
You know better than anyone that allowing discrimination in the workplace pushes out the talented people we need and discourages them from coming to Arizona in the first place.
And he applauded the Arizona business community for urging Governor Brewer to veto the bill. The city's Chamber of Commerce gave everyone this book, Phoenix by the Numbers. One of the numbers, 93% of Phoenix residents say that Phoenix is a good place to live. Live in downtown Phoenix, Tweelon Nugent, Cronkite News.
Since 2011, the freedom of speech for community members who spoke at Tempe council meetings has been restrained. Tempe wouldn't allow broadcasts or replay of public comments, but that's about to change with tomorrow night's meeting. Cronkite News reporter Brittany Thomason explains.
For people living in the city of Tempe, like Nicole King, if she dared to try and speak at city council meetings, no outsiders ever heard what she would have to say.
The minute we start to censor free speech or unlimited speech, then it becomes like a police state.
Which is the last thing the Tempe City Council wants. But they have been grappling with the challenge of whether speech or comments should be broadcast or limited.
What are you afraid of? Are you afraid something comes out that may actually be true?
But Tempe Council member Colby Granville says it's not that simple. They don't want to shut anyone down. Really they have been trying to protect city employees by not showing the public comments on TV.
Things that people were saying that they knew or they very strongly believed were not true, and they didn't want to have issues with the rebroadcast of slander.
But now things are about to change, and the community is about to get its voice back.
It's a really difficult thing to balance, the sort of freedom of speech issues versus the where are we stepping over the line?
The council has come up with a compromise. Public comments can be aired, but the mayor has the authority to stop it if it's going over the line. But not all council members think it's going to be an easy job.
You really want to put the mayor in the position of cutting that person off or not rebroadcasting it and then finding out later it was true.
Which leaves many wondering whether it's more important to allow people to say what they want to say or if we need to keep people who might not know what they're talking about from hurting innocent reputations.
It's a question that has caused a lot of debate among people living in Tempe.
Speeches do start to get out of hand, yes, I think they should be stopped.
But Nicole says freedom of speech means just that.
People should have the freedom to say what they want.
It's a debate that will continue as long as they have public meetings. In Tempe, Brittany Thomason, Cronkite News.
An Arizona law will require voters to provide proof of U.S. citizenship. In response to a lawsuit by Arizona and Kansas, a federal judge ordered the U.S. Election Assistance Commission to help enforce the law. The U.S. Constitution allows states to set their own voter qualifications.
A bill dealing with the legalities of ride-sharing created quite a commotion today at the state capitol. Cronkite News reporter Kimberly Horiza joins us live with the details. Kimberly?
It was a packed house at the Senate's Committee on Commerce, Energy, and Military this morning. Alternate transportation companies such as Uber and Lyft battled with the taxi industry over the regulation of ride-sharing in Arizona. Curb-to-curb car service has taken on a whole new meaning these days, with new companies like Lyft and Uber using apps to connect carpoolers. Ride-sharing is taking off.
It's an entire new vehicle class.
It's not quite a cab service, not a bus, not a limo. All of those industries are regulated in the state of Arizona. Now the heads of Lyft and Uber are asking for oversight for the sake of safety.
Right now, there is a regulatory gap for a model like ours. There are laws that govern liveries and taxis, but no laws in the books that actually govern ride sharing.
HB 2262 would put regulatory statutes in place.
Mandatory background checks, annual vehicle inspections, $1 million insurance policy that's 3 times the state minimum for taxis when you're on a commercial trip.
The insurance wouldn't cover the car itself, but the driver and passengers during the trip. Although this bill places restrictions and requirements on ride-sharing companies, cab companies like Discount Cab say the bill just isn't necessary because the insurance requirements still aren't where they should be.
Because they don't pay for commercial insurance on the vehicles that they use in these so-called ride-sharing models.
That's why the cab companies and even insurance companies showed up at today's hearing, saying they want to keep the competition for passengers' fares fair.
That's really what this boils down to, is their desire to pay less money for insurance than everybody else has to pay to give them a competitive advantage at the expense of public safety, period, nothing else.
There are still a lot of questions regarding this bill, but it was passed through the Senate's committee today, and now it will go to the floor for further debate. Ride-sharing is already regulated in several states, including California. Live in downtown Phoenix, Kimberly Horiza, Cronkite News.
A bill under discussion today is of intense interest to women and their health. Cronkite News reporter Brittany Bade was at the committee meeting today about breast cancer detection.
Cassie, that's right. Senate Bill 1225 would require Arizona doctors to tell patients if they have a certain type of breast tissue found in 50% of women. And this tissue prevents mammograms from detecting cancerous tumors. Dense breast tissue prevents mammograms from being able to see tumors. When doctors look at the results of any mammogram, it tells them if their patient has dense tissue. SB 1225 would require doctors to tell their patients about this.
If you have a very dense breast, which is mostly white, you're going to miss these small cancers. And unfortunately, because of this, it's not until the cancers are larger that you can see them on mammogram, if at all.
Dense breast tissue does not mean that a patient has or will develop breast cancer. Once a patient is informed of this condition, most healthcare providers recommend a sonogram for a more comprehensive check. The Health Committee unanimously passed this bill, and it will now move on through the rest of the House. Live in the Broadcast Center, Brittany Bade, Cronkite News. The Scottsdale Unified School District will close Tonalea Elementary School at the end of the school year. The governing board voted unanimously Tuesday night to close the school. The students and staff will be moved to Oak Campus less than a mile away. The 56-year-old Tonalea campus is in poor condition and the school is at about 54% capacity. Tonalea parents accept the decision but hope that the district will renovate the school eventually.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
You wouldn't expect to apply for a job as a corrections officer at a job fair, but state prisons have the highest demand for workers.
And fewer people are spending time behind bars. But that doesn't necessarily mean fewer crimes are being committed. We'll tell you what's behind the change.
Imagine being stranded.
Getting 16,000 points for them.
From TV banks to computers.
Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Kiss me. That's my kind of man.
They've been creating quite a stir.
The winter you've been waiting for is on PBS.
You must choose either death or life.
All the drama.
There's going to be changes at Downton.
It's getting harder to say no.
The adventure.
The waves are breaking all around us.
And the spectacle of nature.
We're going to show how special these animals are.
Come in from the cold. Support the one place that can take you any place.
With the expansion of Arizona prisons comes a bigger demand for corrections officers, and today recruiters were ready to hire. Cronkite News reporter Hannah Lawrence is live with the details.
The Department of Economic Security held its 21st annual job fair today at the Arizona State Fairgrounds, and the biggest demand seemed to come from our prisons. Patrolling death row isn't likely on your bucket list, much less your resume. But this is where the jobs are.
I'm working 10 facilities throughout the state, taking care of all inmates from death row all the way down to minimum custody.
Corrections Sergeant Michael Fox with the Arizona Department of Corrections was talking up the opportunities to hundreds of job seekers today.
We have a very big need for correctional officers throughout the state.
Sergeant Crystal Hutchinson says the demand comes from expanding prisons statewide.
With every add-on, of course, we need more staff.
She says the workforce is quickly retiring in rural areas, which are home to Arizona's prisons. And the bigger challenge is keeping younger employees away from the big cities.
If there's not a lot to do, it's kind of hard for the younger generation to be interested in staying in a small town.
What are the qualifications? As long as you are 21 or older, have not been convicted of a felony, have a valid driver's license, and at least a GED, you could be a corrections officer. And most importantly, don't stereotype on what a corrections officer might be. The needs for a diverse staff are important.
We have a lot of different people incarcerated, so we need every gender, ethnic, age, everything, because we deal with everybody.
The Corrections Department is looking for around 1,400 new officers statewide. If you'd like any more information about opportunities, you can go to azcorrections.gov. Live in downtown Phoenix, Hannah Lawrence, Cronkite News.
The United States incarcerates the most people in the world, but individual states have been making an effort to reduce prison populations, not because they're going soft, but because they're going broke. One of our Cronkite School in-depth reporting teams took a look at our state's prison systems, its costs, and culture of punishment. Amy Gleich brings us the findings.
An update to a story we've talked about before.
The U.S. hands out very long prison sentences.
Mass incarceration happens with a cost.
It's the world's #1 incarcerator. The budget for the Department of Corrections is exploding.
Why is it the United States leads the world when it comes to incarceration? Are we that different? Are we that evil?
It's morning in America, an America you rarely see, where nearly 2.5 million people are waking up behind bars. It's an America where half the states are working to reduce their prison populations. Arizona is not one of them.
The rubber really hits the road when you get to prison in Arizona. It's more than likely going to be a debilitating experience that you will not come out of prison a better person.
Arizona and Massachusetts are similar in both population and crime rate, yet Arizona spends twice as much money, locking up 4 times as many prisoners.
And we still have a border that is not under operational control, and we still have cartels that are able to engage in both human and drug smuggling into Arizona. In fact, we're creeping back up again to be the major point of smuggling into the United States for drugs along the southwest border.
But this can't be the whole story. New Mexico already has one of the country's lowest incarceration rates. Texas cut its prison population by 5,000, and California tripled that, releasing 15,000 inmates. Arizona, on the other hand, is planning to build more prisons and add more beds.
And the laws are structured in such a way in Arizona that the prosecutors have such power to determine what the sentence is going to be before it ever gets to a judge.
In Massachusetts, first-time offenders can be released after serving only 55% of their sentence. In Arizona, everyone serves at least 85% of sentences that are already longer.
The biggest problem I have with our mandatory sentencing laws is that they are mandatory, and the legislature cannot decide the individual cases. So they set policy, but the policy ought to allow for judges who to use their discretion when circumstances require.
Let's take a look at the way 2 different states would punish the same criminal. Prison sentences in Massachusetts are generally shorter. Someone caught selling marijuana doesn't face a minimum sentence. The same crime in Arizona guarantees you 1 year in prison and could mean as many as 4. And it's not just drug crimes. Armed robbery in Massachusetts carries a minimum of 5 years in prison. In Arizona, it's 2 years longer. Arizona has longer sentences, but isn't any safer.
But in the Department of Corrections, the inmates are out of sight and therefore out of mind, and so the public doesn't generally think about it.
It's true. Most people don't think about the people in prison. But with over $1 billion being spent every year, maybe it is time for Arizona to take a second look.
That was Amy Gleich reporting on behalf of the school's depth reporting class. Sebastian Zotoff and Jahan Jones also worked on the group report. The Arizona Department of Corrections plans to add another 6,500 private prison beds at an estimated cost of $640 million over the next 3 years. That would bring the state inmate population to over 50,000.
Coming up on Newswatch.
Looking for an adrenaline rush? From roller coasters to space travel, Arizona is paving the way for more thrill-seeking tourist attractions.
And spring officially starts tomorrow, but in the Northeast, it seems like winter is here to stay, and in Arizona, we just skipped the summer. I'll have your full forecast coming up next.
Newswatch is one of the really big things I will always remember for the rest of my life.
You're lugging around all of your equipment, you are doing all of the work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling to me.
Being an anchor, I think it's a privilege. I enjoy every moment of it.
Seeing your show on air, it is one of the most surreal feelings ever.
What if we could unlock every mystery?
We're at the beginning of a revolution. That's a huge discovery.
That's never been done before, ever, anywhere.
Touchdown.
No one feeds on curiosity like PBS. Give to your PBS station so future generations can keep asking, what if?
When it comes to new sources of revenue for the state, some lawmakers are aiming high and fast. Crystal Story gets us caught up from the Capitol.
More bang for your buck right here in Arizona. 2 House bills heard by a Senate committee today will not only keep you in state, but bring those from around the country and take them on some wild rides. Your lawmakers want to loop in more money for the state by giving us some thrills. House Bill 2694 makes it easier for cities and towns to establish theme parks and bring in tourists.
We want to have something that focuses their attention on staying in our state so they can come down to Phoenix, so they can come to Sedona.
If the bill passes, the theme park in Williams could start up a lot sooner than you'd think. Not only will you be able to ride more roller coasters, but House Bill 2163 could make it easier to ride a rocket ship. That's right, if House Bill 2163 passes, Paragon, a space company in Tucson, is ready to start launching people to the edge of the stratosphere within the next year.
I do think commercial spaceflight is exciting, and more than that, I think it's, as a state and as a people, we should dream.
These attractions will bring more visitors to Arizona, but they'll also bring jobs.
They employ 70 people. They're a phenomenal company. All of their people make over $100,000.
Both bills are soaring through their committees and are expected to pass. In Phoenix, Crystal Story, Cronkite News.
Spring officially starts tomorrow, but in the Northeast, it doesn't seem like spring is anywhere close. Take a look at this storm system. We're seeing a little bit of snow in the Great Lakes region all the way up into New England, and they have seen plenty of snow this season. Take a look at this. In Boston, they usually see about 44 inches of snow. They've seen 59 so far this season. Philadelphia has seen triple the amounts of snow that they usually see at 68 inches so far this season. Washington, D.C. has doubled in snowfall that they've seen so far. But here in Arizona and Phoenix, we actually don't have to worry about any snow at all, but we do have to worry about these pollen counts for the next few days. The pollen counts are going to be quite high, so if you have any allergies to ash, cottonwood, or mulberry, you may want to stay indoors. And what is causing these problems is the high temperatures and the lack of winds. We're at 80 degrees right now in Phoenix. Winds are at 5 miles per hour, and that 6% humidity is because of a high pressure system that's keeping everything quite dry. And we'll see that high pressure system tomorrow as well, keeping these temperatures quite high. 83 in Phoenix, 84 over in Yuma, 80 in Bullhead City. Tucson, you're at 81 degrees for tomorrow. Looking at your 5-day forecast, as I said, spring is on Thursday. Welcome with 83 degrees in Phoenix. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there will be some clouds. Monday, they'll go away, but we're going to be in the mid-80s for the rest of the week. I'm Jimmy Purvis with your Cronkite weather.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
Call it the first round, call it playing games, call it whatever you want. March Madness is underway. And the flags are flying out of the dugouts, just not in Sydney. Is this the end of manager tirades? We're storming the mound next in sports.
NewsWatch is one of the really big things I will always remember for the rest of my life.
You're lugging around all of your equipment, you are doing all of the work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling to me.
Being an anchor, I think it's a privilege. I enjoy every moment of it.
Seeing your show on air, it is one of the most surreal feelings ever.
What if we could unlock every mystery?
We're at the beginning of a revolution. That's a huge discovery.
That's never been done before, ever, anywhere.
No one feeds on curiosity like PBS. Give to your PBS station so future generations can keep asking, what if?
If your bracket's busted already, you might want to stick to football. NC State, Xavier, Albany, and Mount St. Mary's were the first teams to dance in this year's ball, but only 2 would make it to the field of 64. The 12-seed matchup in the Midwest bracket, and this one is all about TJ Warren. He gets the steal here, finishes the play. The sophomore got into early foul trouble, but turned it on in the second half of scoring 16 of his 25 points in the final 20 minutes, including the jam right here. NC State advances 74-59 and plays the struggling Billikens of St. Louis tomorrow. Now to the other playing game between Albany and Mount St. Mary's. DJ Evans spinning his way to the rim. Despite those hideous jerseys, Albany gets their first ever NCAA tournament win. Thanks in large part to Evans, the small point guard, came up big, 22 points, 3 assists, and 9 boards. He's listed as 5'9", but his teammates don't think so.
He got 9 rebounds and he's about 4'8", so it's really impressive for him to do such that. And he does all the little things that you can't find in most players. I don't think any other 4'8" guy would go in there and get that many boards.
Enjoy it while it lasts, Albany. Now you get to play the #1 overall seed Florida. Good luck. 2 more first-round games tonight. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo taking on Texas Southern as we speak. Cal Poly leads 44-32 at the half. Winner of that gets to try and shock the Shockers from Wichita State on Friday. Staying in the Midwest region, the final first game tips off at 6:10. Iowa versus the Volunteers. Winner plays UMass. From underdogs in the tournament to corn dogs down under, the Dodgers-D-backs rivalry continues to heat up, and it just went to a whole other level of calories. The D-backs announced they are going to offer the D-Bat Dog, a gigantic 18-inch corn dog stuffed with cheddar cheese, jalapenos, and bacon. Comes with a side of fries, only costs you $25, just over $1 an inch. Baseball's newly added replay system will not be in use during the opening series in Sydney. It's going to take some time to get used to, and as Cronkite sports reporter Jamie Purvis found out, around baseball, they think it's worth the wait.
Baseball fans love to cheer on their team, and they stand by their players if they don't like an umpire's call.
As long as they get the call right, that's, I guess, all I care about.
It will be better for the game to get the calls right.
People are ready for replay.
Instant replay is already in full swing at spring training.
This is the first one, huh?
Managers will get up to 2 challenges per game. Everybody will finally be able to see it all right on the big screen.
People will see a close play, and their eyes are going right to that video monitor. Was he safe or was he out?
We have already seen some instant replay action here at spring training. The D-backs and the Angels were the first to make instant replay history with a close play at second. Cole Calhoun was right in the dugout to watch all the action unfold.
They got on the phone and it was like, all right, who are they talking to? What's going on? How are they figuring this out?
Baseball Tonight's host, Carl Ravitch, says umpires get the call right 95% of the time, but when they don't.
When a kid slides into home plate and he's called out and he's really safe, nobody sits there and says, oh my God, we shouldn't overturn it. It's thank God that we had instant replay.
But it could remove one of the most unforgettable aspects of the game. Fans go crazy when managers rush the field to dispute a call.
They've got TV shows on MLB Network that are like the most disputed calls of all time. And I mean, and it's those calls or those games that we never really forget.
Major League Baseball is banking that fans will still find plenty of excitement in the game. In the Valley, I'm Jamie Purvis, Cronkite Sports.
Wade Miley is scheduled to throw the first pitch of the season, but you're going to have to stay up late to watch it. It's scheduled at 7 p.m. Sydney time. That's 1 a.m. here in Arizona.
Well, I don't know about you, but that hot dog sounds pretty good.
I don't think it's for me. Yeah, I don't think it's for me.
No? All right.
That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.